Welcome, welcome, everyone. Dr. Stephen Hobbs here from the Wealth Movement, and I'm joined by
David B. Savage of Savage Management.
And David and I, well, we put a few years in together over a few cups of coffee, some meals, and some walks around conversations about collaborative conversations in the workplace. And I wanted to get a chance to do a bit of an update with David because about 3 years ago, and I'll put the links to these videos, we had a conversation about this topic. And a lot of water has gone under the bridge since then. And I just wanted to see where David is with collaborative conversations in the workplace. And I was just going to share a few of my ideas as well. But I think, David, it's still important that we help people understand what's a collaborative conversation. So do you want to give it a first crack at the definition so people get a sense of it?
Collaborative conversations are the greatest gift you can give to your workplace. That's probably not the definition that people think of first, but it really is, because it includes engagement, innovation, inclusion, diversity. It includes breakthroughs that any one of us can't figure out by ourselves. Or, we are all limited in some way: expertise, skills, perspectives, judgments. So collaborative conversations are actually the learning conversations, Stephen. It's the way we learn as a group and move together as a group and build trust.
For sure. And I'll just add my two toonies worth. The notion of conversation is really about to converse. It's to have this dialogue, more than a discussion, into more of a dialogue. And the interesting thing is, if you take conversation and you switch the S and the V, you get conservation. So I always think of conversations as a way in which to do some conservation, because you're looking at a topic and you're trying to figure out or bound it up and say, what can we do to support this? And if you do it from a collaborative point of view, it's where, a person, each of us in a sense, can be highly assertive and highly cooperative. And so when you bring all of that together, we're really, to your point, bringing all of the elements that you spoke about into play. And I'm particular in my choice of words there, into play, because that's one of the best ways we learn, is that we get a chance to play. And I can see David is smiling there with the word play, because it's so important to both of us. We play, and we do it in the workplace as well. You want to add anything to that?
Well, with play, we have fun, we have joy, we have togetherness, we have a whole bunch of physical attributes. What I would add to underscore what you just shared is that it's more than dialogue, it's multi-log, if we can use that frame. So it's not two people, it's collaborative in more than two. It could be the entire workplace, could be a team, could be 3 people, but even if it's 2 people, a dia, it needs to bring in critical thinking. It needs to bring in other perspectives, the diversity. The other underscore that I would do for how you've just defined collaborative conversations is conversation, as opposed to convert or conversion. I am not trying to convert you to my thinking, my way, my idea. It's innovation, it's inclusion. It's bringing it all together.
Well, I remember when we had that conversation about the multi-log, I went, oh, right. So in some of my work, I actually put trialogue just as a way to rethink that myself, because I was thinking about triangulation and how you can figure out where you are with other people. So great reminder. Thank you. It's how easily we can forget sometimes. So that's wonderful.
This has already been a collaborative conversation.
There you go. There you go. And I hope everyone who is listening in catches that very subtle point, because it really is. And let me just turn it over to the workplace, a place of work where we live and work well together. From your perspective and your years of experience with different kinds of workplaces, what is it that you think that we really need to pay attention to be able to nurture this thing called collaborative conversations? And again, it could be one or two or three, but what are some of your thoughts, David?
Now, a couple of things that come up to my mind in that question, Stephen, is one is the command and control doesn't work anymore. Our work is way too complex and way too quickly changing. We need agility. And most recently, I've been coaching a team of leaders where one of the things that just has happened so many times in my coaching, mentoring, leadership career is sometimes where you get somebody, a leader or a person that wants to control everything, hold the information tight, and parse it out as a piece of power play. Oftentimes they become the sickness in the organization, in the workplace. They become the problem because they are, to use a river metaphor, they are the logjam. They're stopping the brains, the intelligence from freely flowing. So most recently, in the last few months, I've been working with an organization, and there's been a couple of people like that, the controllers, the people that parse out the power as opposed to collaborate. And what we found is once those people were taken out, literally taken out, the collaboration and the innovation and the hope and the belief and the loyalty in that organization just really advances big time. So, the next generations from our generation, they are brilliant. They have so much capacity, so much hope. And the power games, the controlling just doesn't work for them. It doesn't even work for us because it just holds us back individually and collectively. So I guess that my learning and relearning there is collaborative conversations are basically freedom. They're a way for people to gain trust in their organization and their leaders that I matter and what I say, you don't have to agree with, but you encourage me to matter and say.
And I'll pick up on that one is because through the merger and acquisition work that I've done in the workplace, collaborative conversations is really important in that area. And one of the phrases that I keep sharing with people is you've got to make sure that our head, heart, and hands are in this. And you've got to be able to collaborate from a head, heart, and hands perspective. Because when you do so, it's more of a whole system, whole person's perspective. And I've always appreciated that about collaborative conversations is if you can bring that in and nurture that in the workplace, to your points about what happens, my heart flutters, right? My hands clap and I go, whew, we're getting there. This is what really happens, right? So the head, heart, and hands kind of storyline happens for me.
Yeah, and we just keep learning over and over that we all show up at work. We all show up at home. We can't be a different personality at work than we are at home or in play when we're out in the forest. We are who we are. So let's bring it all.
Yes.
Those that are not allowed to bring it all in the workplace are stunted. They're not. They've had a ceiling put on their ideas, their opportunities to contribute. So through the collaborative conversations, we find out things that we might not have figured out before. Another example that I heard about 3 years ago with one of my clients is, the boss just couldn't understand why we were wasting all this time talking to each other. Like, just do it. Well, it didn't take very long for this one individual who was in purchasing, and this was a multi-billion-dollar company. And one individual in purchasing said, well, I finally got up the nerve to tell the boss that we were losing millions and millions of dollars because we weren't free to talk. We weren't free to share and engage and challenge. In the purchasing contracts, we would continually award the contracts to lower bidders, and then they'd screw us once they got the deal, and all of a sudden everything would skyrocket and the timelines and the money, blah, blah, blah. And until they had that willingness to actually listen to each other, find out what the root causes were of, it was actually their purchasing, their request for proposal system that saved them a ton of money and a ton of time, simply because they started to actually have these productive collaborative conversations.
For sure. I think one of the things that we can share that would be really helpful as we start to close off this conversation here is what might be a sage piece of insight, or if we were to mentor at this point in time from our lived experience. And I'll share one which I think is important in just about every respect of the workplace, but certainly to set up collaborative conversations, is to take some time at the very beginning and define the terms and concepts of what it is you're going to be working on and agree to those terms and concepts. Because I know I've been hired in so many times and I realize you never define the terms and concepts that you're working with, and you're talking about it from an A point of view. You're over here from a W point of view. What would happen if we brought A and W together? Oh, sorry, that's a hamburger. No. But it's true, is that how do you bring this collaborative conversation in through something like define the terms and concepts and agree on them and then move in from there? So that's something I would certainly share at this point in time.
Yeah, well, we think a lot alike. Now, someday I'll catch up to you, Stephen, but my latest book was actually titled Better by Design, on exactly that point, is to say, let's consciously design how we are together, what our intentions are, what are our rules, what's the practice of collaboration look like, what's our accountabilities or incentives. Let's be really, really conscious. You know, one of the things that a bad collaboration is, it's a delay tactic. It's a failure to lead, to make decisions, to really be successful. It's just like, oh, let's just keep on talking. No, that's not what collaborative conversations and collaborative leadership is about. It's about, you know, being clear with where you want to be, being really clear with the rules of engagement to bring the A and W, to at least understand what system we're working in and what the rules are, what the expectations, accountabilities are. But at some point in time, once we've received all of that input and the various perspectives, the various challenges that we have, then the final step in my 10 essential steps to collaboration is now lead. So now it's up to the boss, the one in charge, to actually make it happen. It's not an ongoing, aren't we feeling good? This is a very powerful business tool to get the best and brightest ideas realized.
For sure. And I think with that, you mentioned your book, you mentioned the 10, and at the end of this video, there are links to David's books and his website, and same for mine and the books that I have written. So I believe if you shake your head, yes, David, that's something we're going to do for everyone, and we encourage you to chase those down. And if we can help out further around collaborative conversations, we'll do so. So, well, David, you get the final word going out.
Stephen, I'll up the ante because I really believe in your passion, the work that you're doing, the people that you're working with. So what I will say is the first 20 people that email you and you pass it on to me saying, I'm interested and here's what I'm thinking about collaborative conversations. The first 20 people, I will send you my Better by Design handbook, eBook form. So the first 20, you get it for free, and let's build on that collaboration, because my offer is to support you and to support the leaders you're working with, but it's also to continue to evolve and fine tune and learn from them.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. And folks, if you didn't quite catch that, that's a First 20, a free book, one of the books that David has written. It's the handbook version of it. And so hit pause, go back, just listen to that again about how to do it, and then come back through, and that would be wonderful. So with that, David, thanks very much for this collaborative conversation about collaborative conversations in the workplace. Everyone, take care.
Take care.
Thanks for watching the video. We have an ask of you. Make sure you click the subscribe button and click the bell beside subscribe so you can receive more notifications of the videos that we're loading up. And like the video, and especially if you could comment your insights. We would enjoy learning from you. Take care.